I completed every single BB tag trial. Why? Well, in actuality, this is in correlation to another video that I am currently working on that will be up soon right after this one. And the only reason I went and specifically made this part its own thing is because it's the only one that I 100% completed and have the most notes on and most familiar with. Plus, I also didn't want to add the run time since it'll probably go over like 15 minutes if I added the BB tag one alone. But yeah, long story short, here we are. Now pull up a seat as I go through my experience of beating all the trials in BB tag. Oh, and by the way, we're only focusing on the character trials. We're not going to be focusing on these other trials as you guys see here. And also I'm going to be playing on the PC version since I have already done some of the trials on my Switch and BB tag, and I want to start off with a fresh slate and get some money so I can actually buy all the costumes and chibis in the PC version. I'll let you guys know at the end how much money you get for doing all the trials. Now, starting from the top, we're gonna go first with our boy Rog. Starting off, I want to say that choosing Ragna as our first character is not a really bad idea, as seeing he is a Shoto, and Shotos tend to generally give a good idea as to how difficult the rest of the game is and how it works. And as you can clearly see here, I got through the first 3 trials no real problem at all. And there seems to be a pattern where the first 3 trials are fairly easy. They do escalate a little bit. The first 2 combos seem to focus on just regular combos, then on number 3 it starts to show you how to combo from an anti-air, and number 4 comboing from a grab. But should you ever get stuck or want to see how it's done, you can always set this little example here that we'll be showing in a second, that you can set noises to see the timing, and then you can also turn it on or on yourself to try to match the timing. But I tend to find that the combos don't actually start to get hard until after trial 3, where the anti-airs are first introduced. But yeah, that's pretty much the general flow when doing these combos. And with that being said, Ragna I rate about an average, a bit easier than I thought he would be, but not too hard. Anyone should be able to do this. Most of this trial didn't take me more than 1 or 2 tries, and it all rounded about 6 minutes, with me taking 3 minutes on just trial 6 alone. Next up is our next semi-Shoto, which is Jin Kisaragi. He was actually slightly harder than Ragna, but not too much, still fairly easy, with his last 2 trials both taking exactly a minute each, averaging about 4 minutes. To be able to get this, he's a bit tricky, but yeah, nothing too much to talk here. Let's move on. Now next up is my girl Noellers. Now she can be a bit tricky due to her gun stance, but she isn't too hard up until trial 5. As you can see here, it gets a bit tricky, but not too hard once you know. Now the real tricky Noellers combo starts with trial 6, or heck the whole combo trials, by looking at a list and me simply reacting like this. Oh hell no. But once you actually remember the notations, isn't that hard. Just spam your A's, do the stance, do a crouch in between, repeat, and with quarter circles, and you're good. Noellers is definitely a bump above her brothers, and I definitely would give her a solid average ranking, maybe a bit above average due to that last one being a bit tricky. Her real difficulty is just remembering her stance stuff and what to do from it. I thought Noelle was a bump up from Jin and Ragna. Rachel takes the cake. She starts getting hard from trial 3. It took me about 30 seconds just to beat trial 3 and 4, and with some effort. 5 oddly took 40 seconds, but still wasn't a walk in the park. But where she really gets annoying, easily hands down has to go to trial 6. Just listen to this. Ah, fuck. But yeah, Rachel goes into the list as our first hard one out for BB tag. And it took about 5 minutes just to beat trial 6. The ending was immaculately annoying. It adds up to around a total of 10, and a good old smack this character. God, she's annoying. But yeah, those are the stats for her, and let's move on to the next character. Now up is our first big boy grappler of the game. Now his trials weren't exactly too hard, though granted I usually main grappler, so if you're not too used to them it can be a bit tricky, but shouldn't take too long. Fairly average, only took 2 tries to get his final trial, so ranked about an average, maybe slightly below by my standards, a bit above if you're not used to grapplers. Moving on. We now move on to Hakumen, who initially the first trials were brain dead easy, so I was starting to wonder, I thought this character was going to be really hard. But then nope. Trial 5 came in. As you can see, this is immediately as complicated as Noelle's, except the difference is this is actually a lot tighter in execution. It did take me a bit of a minute, but it wasn't too hard. But then when you get to trial 6, it's absolutely bonkers. If you got used to trial 5 and the way the stance switches, it'll help a lot with 6. But the thing about 6 that makes it so hard is that it doesn't tell you need to do a jump cancel. You have to actually go and look in the demonstration to even see it, as you can clearly see from what I'm doing. So that means you have to immediately press up or do a full quarter circle up, and then immediately do the cancel at least, 3 times in a row, and then after that immediately be able to execute. Like, nah, this is actually buck wilding. Overall, I would say Rachel is harder, but for the final trials I have to give it to Hakumen. This is just actually insane. Holy fuck. Alright, next up is probably the easiest combo in the entire game so far. It goes to new. Literally just press the buttons, do a quarter circle, call it a day. Now the only thing is just make sure you're at least past mid distance, and it's not even that hard. She's free sail. We're moving on. It took like a minute.
Fuck me. What the fuck? Fuck.
And just when I thought that Rachel and Hakumen would hard, Hazma came through and said, hold my beer. This dude starts getting hard already from trial 2. It's a bit tricky because of this whole snake thing, so you have to actually sit down and learn how to make it work. If you just spam it, you're gonna mess the combo up every single time. But once you do, it's like, okay, not too bad. But then the next combo at combo 4, you have to do this buck wild ass thing, and the trick with that one is the complete opposite. Now you have to go fast as hell. And trial 5 doesn't get any better. Now you have to combine both of the things of going, oh, be patient with the little snake thing, wait, and then mash like an absolute mad lad. It took me at least 5 minutes for all 3 of them. So it was like, what, 15 minutes minimum? But oddly enough, his last trial was super easy.
That was very disappointing.
Now after that hard-ass combo, we go to probably someone that isn't that hard. We got Makoto. Her execution's immaculately easy. She has a bit of a weird trick with the little spinny thing, and even her grab combo is a bit of a bitch. But, you know, outside of her super whipping, not that hard. Moving on. Continuing the easy train, we go to Platinum, which honestly I feel might be the easiest character so far. But she has a lot of fun. She has a weird timing when you do the little jump and the stupid pogo. But, I mean, she's as easy as she looks. And no, I don't mean in a mirrored way. She's a kid. It's as easy a kid can do it. That's what I mean. Now getting back into the swing of things, we got Izayoi. She's a bit tricky, especially with her teleports. But not too hard. You can get regular tries about the same. So she's actually fairly average. Definitely trickier, so she's a bit slight above average. But nothing too special. We'll move on even though I have more clips. But outside of her teleport and her gimmick, it's like, what do I have to say? Now that is absolutely the cutest way to grab someone. Now on to another free character, it's Celica, my adorable little squishy. But yeah, I'm changing it up from now on. If I'm just saying average, assume that the combo is going to take less than 5 minutes, easy for like 2 to 3. And yeah, I mean, I've got enough data, now obviously I'm finished, but I wanted to give you guys a bit of preview of how the normal sequence of combos goes. But yeah, now we're just going to rate them from easy to medium to hard. And like I said, Celica's free. Not even just easy, just free. She's easily probably the new easiest character.
Get ready!
Ow! I'm sorry, what the fuck?
And next up is my favorite boy, Azrael. Now, I came into this thinking this was going to be very easy because I am an Azrael main from BlazBlue Chrono Phantasm, but I actually forgot he has a bit of death. It's just that I'm so used to mashing with him that I always get this hit confirmed. So with Azrael, for one of his combos, you have to tap the same button right as soon as you hit them, but my timing is literally just mashing it to where I always get the counter hit. And that can be a bit tricky and hard to do. But then after that, the real difficulty starts with his Valiant charge. And what that requires is you do quarter circle, X, well, I'm thinking X, whatever, doesn't matter. Quarter circle, and then you just do it, and you're like thinking, oh, this is complicated. All it is doing the quarter circle, hitting it. You have to do a hold, or you have to do what I mentioned earlier, the hit, which is much harder. But at the end of the day, what it really matters is that you get the full charge of the hit, and then you see him launch, and then just press like the same button 5 times in a row. Quarter circle, do the thing, and yeah, it's not that hard. But he's definitely above average, and obviously one of my favorite characters. You can see earlier by me yelling like an absolute monkey. But yeah, above average, bit of a tough boy. Next up is 9. Now, I came in initially expecting her to be pretty hard. Her first trials weren't too bad. Number 4 was a bit okay, but then it started right at trial 5. I kept messing up this one part, and it's so tight for no reason. I mean, heck, just listen to these reactions. Oh, what is that? Oh! Fuck me, bitch! So yeah, needless to say, 9 is freaking hard. And on top of that, she has to have the hardest Trial 6 combo in this entire game. First of all, you have to do this setup with this little weird ball thing that you see here. And you can't be up close, which is a mistake I made for a whole 3 minutes. You actually have to be at tip distance of it. Then do an immediate A before the setup hits. Then do an immediate cancel jump. And immediately do a move right after. So you have to be super close to the ground in order for this even to work. Then follow up with an air combo. And then do a super. Like, bro, I'm just done. I'm done explaining this combo. This stuff is buck wild. Heck, the one time I did even get it, I did the wrong super.
I did the wrong super. Fuck.
So yeah, hands down, I have to give this to 9 right now. She is now the king of the hardest trials. Hazma, move right on over. We have a new king. I mean queen. Fuck this character. Now, right after 9 is a character who's notoriously known for being hard, more so in BlazBlue, so I wondered if he was going to be just as hard in PB Tag, and to my surprise, mostly, not really. He's actually pretty easy. His 5th try was a bit of a learning curve, especially with his stance, but once you learn how to do it with his stance, his execution sadly is not that high. It's definitely higher than the average PB Tag character for sure, so I'd give him an above average. But outside of 3 tries for his last trial, yeah, he's disappointingly not hard, barely above average.
Moving on.
Now another character that I thought beat harder, heck even harder than goddamn Hakumen, seeing as it's Susanoo. And no, he's actually much easier than you think he'd be. If anything, I'd barely rank him below average. He has a bit of a trick and learning curve, but nothing too hard that nobody can't get used to. But yeah, disappointingly easy. Moving on to the next character.
It's best girl F.
So how does one of my favorite lolis in this game do? Well, she's probably one of the easiest characters in this game. Her execution is pretty much non-existent. Yeah, it takes a bit of a while to learn how her weird things work, but once you do, there's no way in hell you're messing up these combos. But yeah, she's pretty punch-a-baby easy. Or, in other words,
But she's free as hell.
next up is one of the characters I can't stand the most, which is Mai. His execution isn't really that hard, but he has some tricks to his spear combos. Like for example, Combo Trial 4 doesn't actually tell you you're supposed to hold the spear stance and then let go, which is just really annoying. But yeah, outside of having to know a trick or two with the spear thing, they're not really that hard. And it probably has the least good feeling combos in the entirety of this game. But outside of that, moving on.
Oh, that was pretty.
And now finishing off the Blaze Blue cast, we go with the cat. I'm gonna be honest, I've actually almost never used this cat, so I don't even know how he plays, so I'm very curious as to how hard he is. And surprisingly, he was above average. Definitely probably the trickiest character so far, definitely above Mai and even say Wraith. Well, not so much tricky, it's just weird. You have to really get used to how his whole cat thingy thing jig works, and that has a bit of a learning curve, but it feels more like an execution trick than just knowing a weird trick. But yeah, surprisingly above average. But yeah, that'll be it for now. I'll be breaking up this video into 2 more parts probably, as seeing that all the clips alone are gathering up to pretty much nearly 2 hours. So yeah, you should be seeing a link here for the next parts. Go check this out.